Hi, Juliana. Juliana, I'm not quite sure how you say your name. Thanks for your question. So, real world applications of concatenate. It is kind of difficult to come up with an example of that, but I can tell you definitively that there have been times in my life where I'm like, I totally had to use concatenation. And generally, those times are when I'm putting together different fields into one field. And so I could think about like with names, right? So here we have names, and let's say I wanted these to all be in one field. So, that wouldn't be something that I do normally. But again, I'm saying absolutely I've used it. So I'm adding in a new sheet here, and I'm going to paste those names. And then if I wanted to concatenate those names together, I still have trouble saying that. I just go to formulas and go to text and insert the concatenate. And I want to concatenate this one. And then I want a space between that. So I kind of put space, and then I'm going to concatenate it with that. And I click OK, and then I have their full name. So there might be a situation where I need to concatenate things together like that. And like I said, I've totally had to use concatenate before, and it was for situations like this where I just need to combine things from 2 or 3 or multiple fields into one field. So once that's concatenated, the last thing I would do, is I just copy this whole column, and I'd come over here and I'd paste it as a value. So paste special, or, well, it's just easier there. Paste special and say, hey, values. And then it's no longer a formula. You can see up here, right? That's still a formula. This is just the value. And if I go to show formulas, you can see that's the formula, but here it's just the value. So that's that's concatenate. And yeah, at some point in your life, maybe you'll come across it. If you do, come across the need to use it. And if you do, drop me a note and say, oh, I totally used it. So hopefully it's helpful to you. And then the last one for Mr. McLeod, when I enter a formula of concatenate and don't use quotations, the true or false response is created immediately. Depending upon the application, I can see that maybe you want to see that formula first, but is there any other reason to not just put the concatenate formula straight in and skip the if part? You could do it either way. And you say here, you also say you realize that after this, conditional formatting does not work unless you use the if function, but it seems repetitive to me to use both. You just play with it. I mean, the main thing is to know that you've got conditional formatting, you've got the if function, you've got concatenate, and there is no definitive way that you absolutely have to do things. There are general best practices, but a lot of it is just knowing what tools are out there and then putting the tools on the table, so to speak, and working with them until you get the effect that you want. And always, keep it simple. Go for the simplest solution possible. So I hope that answers your question. I hope it's helpful. Thanks for being in my class. And yeah, I appreciate your question.